Hello everyone, this is Poohhead189, and today we are doing, hot takes. The spiciest takes in all of the Dragon Ball community. Now, even though I've done one before, I don't know if I will be able to finish all of them today, because again, there were over 130, and I think I did 30 or 40 last time, so there's still a huge amount left. However, I am going to get to as many as I can. Now, as I said last time, I'm going to do a ranking system. The top is going to be...
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
And then the next is going to be pretty good, or, it's something that's kind of wild, but I can see your point and I agree with it. And that'll be this clip.
Son, you talk a lot of shit.
Yes, I do.
But you down.
And then the next, I will potentially showcase with this clip.
I mean, it's alright,
which means it's kind of mid, but it's not bad either. And then next, below that, which is something you don't want, is me saying that it's looking bleak. And then after that, the worst thing you can get, and other variations of this, is...
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
So, with that being said, let's dive in. Now, I know where I stopped last time because I stopped with my good boy Bush. But before I get back into that, I am going to do a few of the patron hot takes, which they put on the Patreon, and so I'm going to do that real quick. Alright, so let's start the hot takes. Okay. Amari, who is a patron, all these guys are patrons until I say otherwise. Amari says, "Ooh, this is spicy. I absolutely despise Videl. Damn. She's mean to Gohan in the Buu saga for no reason, wastes parts of the episodes of Z about her learning how to fly and about ki control like anyone cares. Gets her ass kicked by Spopovich, not really providing any really good fights besides Broly, I guess, but I don't count that. Wastes everyone's time and turns into a generic-ass wife in Super, and that's it." Oh, damn. Okay, I'll give you one thing. That is a hot take because not a lot of people like Videl. Okay, look. I don't see I'm not a huge Videl fan, but I also don't dislike her. I will say I agree with her becoming a generic ass wife in Super. And what you said is true. I mean, I will say that a lot of people care. You said like anyone cares. A lot of people do care. Everyone loves the key control episode on learning how to control it. Like everyone tried that. And people still love Videl learning how to fly and Goten doing it with her. But I will also say that, I mean, yeah, she didn't amount to much with the plot, but I am a big proponent of that not mattering on if a character is worth something or not. So I'll say while I agree about her losing her personality in Super, and I agree that she didn't provide a lot to the plot, I will say that I think it's either all right or looking bleak. Because I know a lot of people disagree with that, and I kind of disagree with the spirit of what you're saying. I don't hate Videl. Now, I will say, you did say after this that Gohan should have hit up that yellow-haired girl instead, Arisa, and I admit I do think Arisa would have been a good fit for Gohan, and I also kind of think Arisa's super attractive, but... I don't know. I like Arisa quite a bit, and maybe she would have been better for Gohan, maybe. But Gohan's very happy in Super and particularly GT with Videl. So, yeah, I'm going to say your take is all right, or it's looking bleak, but it's not a positive. I'll give it that. Okay, now, but thanks for it, Amari. Next is Stridency. Oh, I've mentioned Stridency a bunch before. He's cool. Okay, he's got 3 hot takes. All right. 1, Vegeta absolutely could have ended Cell if his final flash was less narrowed / Cell didn't move. Okay, I'll get back to that. 2, Nappa is way stronger than people seem to remember. He was scrapping with a powered-up base Goku at over 8,000, and he straight up only lost once he pulled the Fist of the Kai out, so Kaioken. And 3, its constant omnipresence and lack of silence, as well as abrupt tonal shifts. Its constant omnipresence and lack of silence, as well as abrupt tonal shifts, could be disconcerting, but overall, the Bruce Falconer dub straight up fucks. Vegeta's, so not sucks, it fucks. Vegeta's Super Saiyan theme, the Dragon theme, Pycon, of all people for a theme. Super good. Sub score and Kai original score are also both classics, but that original funny soundtrack sometimes is just, and then just puts a capiche emoji. I'll start with number 1 for Vegeta could have ended Cell with his final flash. That's really hard to say, because Vegeta, if Cell was protecting himself, Vegeta could completely not have done it, because Cell had opened himself up to be attacked because he just had that amount of arrogance on when he first became perfect. It's hard to, like, you could say the same thing potentially about Goku's instant transmission Kamehameha. The first one with Vegeta, Cell opened himself up to be attacked. In the second one, Goku took Cell by surprise. And when you allow yourself to be taken by surprise, or you don't, like, put up your guard in Dragon Ball, yeah, you do get hurt more. But it's really hard to say if Cell... I'm gonna say that's all right. I don't know if I agree, but it's not a stupid thing to say. 2, Nappa is way stronger than people seem to remember, and the fact he's fighting Goku at over 8,000 power level, and he straight up only lost once he pulled the Kaioken out. That's pretty good. I agree. I'm not gonna say it's perfect, because Goku probably, or not probably, he would have still won even without Kaioken. It is true that Nappa's best attacks did not hurt Goku because Goku was just on the ball. But yes, Nappa was very close to Goku in strength, and Goku says that beating Nappa would have taken a long, long time if not for using the Kaioken. So you are right. You are right there. Nappa is way strong. People seem to remember. He's likely 7,000 or 7,500 in strength. Likely. Even though the Daizenshu says otherwise, like I've always said, the Daizenshu is correct until something just showcases that it can't be. And Goku being impressed with Nappa and saying that, oh man, he's really tough, and this would take forever, showcases that Goku, once Nappa calmed down, Goku would not be able to beat Nappa without really, really trying. So yeah, Goku, Nappa is stronger than people think. 3, I'm gonna say that the original Funimation sound, like the Bruce Falconer score, is, it's great. I'm gonna say that is perfect. In fact, I'm gonna give you the clip. You get the clip.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Look, I think the Kikuchiki score is really good, especially in certain areas. I think that the Kai score is good sometimes. I think that the Ocean Dub score is way underrated. But like, the only people that I've seen hate the Bruce Falconer score are people that can't admit anything about the dub is good, and they are just looking for ways to hurt people's feelings. Like, there's no way you can say that all of it is bad. Bruce Falconer is great. It's great. And people, and I've said this before, but people make up these rumors about how like Bruce Falconer stole like credit from SSJ the band, and that's also not true. They worked together. It's kind of coping how the Kikuchi, part of the Kikuchi score or the sub score was plagiarized, and then they're like, well, we have to make the dub sound even worse, and it's like, no, that didn't happen, dude. But yeah, I agree. Perfect. I mean, yeah, you don't have to like think it's the best ever, but to say it's bad, that's just being stupid. Okay. Amari posted again. He says, okay, I got one more in me. Zamasu is the best villain of the series. And he's going to throw Baby and Z Broly in too. I'm sorry, Amari. Both of those are also looking bleak. I mean, Zamasu's alright. Baby is alright. Z Broly is... They're all alright. But saying they're the best in the series makes the hot takes go from an alright to a...
Come on, don't bullshit me.
Okay, Hall K12. Okay, hot take 1. Hercule is actually a really badass character. He is the strongest non-superhuman on the planet, and everything you've seen video do, he can also do with little less efficiency. IG. By video, I think he meant Videl. He just gets goofed by Cell and obviously stronger opponents, but he is the world champion for a reason. Hot take 2. The Buu saga was massively beneficial for the series. Hold on. Fusion and Super Saiyan 3 being irrelevant to the finale still improved the lifespan and the character roster of games and what ifs. I feel like fan rewrites putting too much attention on Gohan is a mistake for the series in the long run, also as he is just not as iconic as Goku, even though he does deserve some spotlight since Z started with his introduction, unfortunately. Hot take 3, movies are basically fan service for only Goku or Gohan and Bojack and Broly movies. All the Z Fighters get like one cool scene or entrance and then get finessed severely only for Goku or Gohan to steal the show. Without the limits of canon, I think it's so disappointing that they have enemies with large crews, but Z Fighters don't even get a short 1v1 win like Trunks in the Bojack movie. And the Turles movie having Goku take out everyone when Yamcha couldn't get revenge on the Chud who totaled his spanking new ride just spurges me hard. Okay, let me start with the hot take 1 about Hercule being a really badass. You're correct. That is pretty good, but he's also a liar. It's explicit that he is also a con man. He did win a tournament, and he is super strong for a normal person. So you are correct. But like he is also a known con man. So I guess I won't say it's perfect, but I'll say it's pretty good. I agree. Okay, hot take 2, the Buu saga, massively beneficial to the series, and yeah, with the what ifs and people misconstruing, I think that's pretty good as well. I think that, yeah, could the Buu saga have been written better? Sure, but the way it was written brought us a lot of extra content. I agree with that as well. If Super Saiyan 3 Goku beat Buu, then we wouldn't have gotten Ultimate Gohan, and if Ultimate Gohan beat Buu, then we wouldn't have gotten Vegito. And you know, if Buu had been beaten earlier, we wouldn't have gotten Gotenks. And so I agree. While it could have been definitely written better and paced better, at the same time, we did get a bunch of cool forms and moves and stuff like that. So that's correct. I agree with that. It's pretty good. And hot take 3, movies are basically fan servicey for Goku or Gohan, and it's a shame that the other cast members do not get a huge spotlight. Completely agree with that. That's perfect. Yeah, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Like, I love my 3 favorite movies are Dead Zone, World's Strongest, and Tree of Might, the first 3 Z movies. One of the main reasons, well, there's a lot of reasons for that, but one of the main reasons is that, like, in Tree of Might, we do get to see a bunch of the regular cast fight. But at the same time, yeah, there's no reason that they shouldn't have gotten wins there. That's super stupid. Even Piccolo didn't get a win. Yeah, I agree. All right, so that's all of them for the Patreon. Let's go back to YouTube and everyone else on it. Okay, so to begin with the YouTubes, Chef in a Bottle. I recognize you, boy. Power scaling can be completely ignored for me if it means the character they decide to buff up becomes more interesting and bring new things to the table. A character like 17 coming back in the Tournament of Power is a good example. It doesn't make any sense that he's blue level all of a sudden, but I can easily look past it since he was entertaining in the tournament. For me, I prefer to acknowledge the flaws without throwing it all away and generalize it as something irredeemable. Same can be said for almost all other universes. I'm glad they didn't just have Universe 7 come in and sweep the competition. I'm going to say that's pretty good. Here's the thing. That's kind of straddling the line between pretty good and all right to me. Because on the one hand, I agree. Like, people tend to ask me, like, is super good or bad? And, I mean, if I have to give a binary answer, I say it's bad. But there are things in it that I do appreciate, and I try to say that. I try to say, oh, there's plenty of stuff in it that I think is good. I just don't think it's great overall. So, yeah, I agree. And I also agree that it's cool to bring in characters despite power scaling. However, what I don't abide is that they give no reason for it. Like, they should give a reason, and like, even if it's a bad reason, like when Frieza Black shows up and beats up, Gas, and then just kind of takes out Goku and Vegeta, and it's just like, oh, he was in a hyperbolic time chamber somewhere else in the universe, so he didn't count for the wish. That's one of the dumbest fucking things I have heard in so long. But at the same time, at least there's a reason. Right? When it comes to 17, they could have at least said something like, oh, I found a secret of my programming, and I boosted my strength level astronomically. That would have been cool. I would have liked to have learned that. But we didn't get that. He just shows up. And they just said, like, oh, yeah, I'm just not strong enough. Oh, but Krillin is, and Tien is, but Tien's also kind of not strong, but he is. And then Roshi is way stronger. Secret training. And, oh, what kind of training? We don't know. He just went from 139 power level to like 80 billion. And it just make better choices and then give reasons for them. So I'm going to say your take is,
I mean, it's all right. Like,
yeah, that clip. But yeah, I completely understand. I get what you mean. All right, next up is Paintbrush. Oh man, you got a big hot take. Okay, dude, I'm going to try to read all this. The Buu saga and the original series ended great. There's a lot of reasons for this, but one of them is that it brings the narrative back to the original message behind the martial arts in the series, that there's always someone stronger. The teaching Kame-Sennin gave Goku and Krillin back in the second arc, and that this is what makes Goku an exceptional fighter, both in-universe and according to Toriyama. That Goku desires to get stronger for the simple delight of pushing his personal limits. Think about it, this was how the Z portion started off with Goku letting Vegeta go because he gave him inspiration to improve. None of the fighters could actually defeat Vegeta, even if they did save the planet. However, in the next two arcs, we end the heroes giving defined feats to the villains and solidifying themselves as the strongest characters in the universe at the time. i.e. Goku, and then Trunks defeating Frieza, and then Gohan killing Cell. So we get to the Buu Saga ending, and we are back with Goku, the embodiment of this theme. No, Gohan is not the embodiment of this. His personality does not lend him to the role, as Gohan is a utilitarian fighter. He does not fight generally for the sake of improvement or pure bliss. He fights to protect or serve a purpose, and generally doesn't desire a life of combat. This is, in my opinion, why Gohan, while important, didn't need to take the role as the MC or send-off character. He's a good character, but even Toriyama says he's not fit for MC. It's not bad to give him time in the spotlight without doing so indefinitely. Also, I'm cool with the new gen. God, this is such a long hot take. You gotta take a drink. Alright, I'm gonna need to skip your parentheses stuff because it's mostly about Gohan. Anyway, we have Goku, the embodiment, along with Vegeta, the person he let survive for that very ideal. The person who struggles the entire series finally learns it and concludes his character arc as Goku is fighting, and this is why I love that Super Saiyan 3 was introduced midpoint and not a final transformation that defeats the bad guy. Goku has this awesome, amazing power, but it's still not even the peak of power in this series, Someone's always stronger, and it's Boo. With the power of the entire world, Goku defeats Kid Boo and saves the day, but he did not reach his ceiling, so he has Boo reincarnate just so he can test his limits again. And in the end, we see it in its purest light, to the characters battling for the sake of a good fight, not to stop evil, but just cuz. Like with Krillin vs. Goku proving Muten Roshi right. Sorry. I also love whimsy and silliness combined with the action of the saga that feels like a combination of OGDB. But finally, I love how Toriyama the ending is. It's bittersweet, a little unexpected, open to the imagination, but also full of energy. Toriyama used to say he'd purposely write things to not give the fans what they want, a charm that gives the story agency in a metatextual sense that modern DB, which typically placates more to fans, just cannot replicate. I absolutely find more reasons to love every part of the OG manga and anime, even with their flaws, and I'm grateful over a decade into loving Dragon Ball, I still find new corners to appreciate. I appreciate all of your thoughts, Paintbrush, but like, when I ended it, I was like, so what is your hot take? And then I read the first sentence, the Boo Saga and the original series ended great. Which is your hot take. But I did, like, you didn't write bullshit. Like, you wrote all your opinion, and I appreciate that. I know you didn't mean for it to be that long. But, yeah, the Boo Saga and the original series ended great. I'll say you talk a lot of shit. But you down.
Son, you talk a lot of shit.
Yes, I do.
But you down.
Mateus Rocha, or Roca, 1184. People like Gohan's character in the Cell Saga, but that's actually his worst. But let me explain. It makes absolutely no sense that he outright refuses to fight Cell. Okay, Gohan never had the battle mania of his father, but he always helped. In the Frieza Saga, he and Kuririn, oh no, were fighting and giving their all to help. He jumped at Dodoria, Guldo, and even Frieza. Okay, two of these he was enraged, but he wasn't against Guldo. In the beginning of the Cell Saga, the same thing. He even got his Saiyan armor when he sensed Frieza, trained with his father and Piccolo, and was determined to help against the androids. Then, even though he knew what Cell had done in order to become perfect and what he would do if no one stopped him, he refused to fight against Cell. Why? Okay, Super Saiyan 2 was cool and stuff, but I don't like what had to happen and to Gohan so that this happened. I agree. You also talk a lot of shit, but you down. Like I said in the last video, we don't know what Gohan went through in the time chamber. It could have changed him, but in general, yes, this did seem like something that just came out of nowhere. Just because he doesn't obsess over fighting doesn't mean he would refuse to fight or want to talk it out. That's like trying to talk it out with Frieza on Namek. He knew that wouldn't be an option. Like, why would he even try? Okay, Mr. Popo 8298. Gohan should have killed Nappa with the Rage Boost Masenko after Piccolo's sacrifice, and Goku should have arrived just in time to stop Vegeta killing/kidnapping him. Okay, I see why you would say that, but I think that's kind of looking bleak. I think that you can make the same case for Tien killing Nappa, and you can make the same case for Krillin killing Nappa. It's like, yeah, Nappa was meant to be this juggernaut that just kind of went past people's expectations. But yeah, Gohan, I do think that Gohan should have had a stronger attack. I mean, it went up to 2,800, and Nappa says it made his arm numb. So yeah, and I mean, granted, that was way stronger than Gohan was earlier. But yeah, I think it should have been more. I think Nappa should have had a harder time deflecting it. It was kind of anticlimactic, so I agree. But it was to make it seem hopeless. And it also was to make it seem like, wow, everyone tried to kill Nappa and no one succeeded. Even Gohan when he was enraged. Even Tien when he used the Tri-Beam. Even Krillin after Yamcha's death. Even Piccolo couldn't do it. No one could do it. Even Chaozu sacrificing himself. No one could do it. So, yeah, that was the point. So I'm gonna say it's kind of looking bleak, but I get what you're saying. I completely get what you're saying. So it's not a bad hot take. It's a good hot take. Okay, let's see. Ahmed Hussein, JU6XD. Super Saiyan 3 is by far the coolest form. The Pilaf gang are some of the worst characters ever. They're the reason the future got doomed. I love Broly's second coming. Let's see. Super Saiyan 3 is by far the coolest form. That's looking bleak, man. I'm not against Super Saiyan. Or you said Super Saiyan 3. I said Super Saiyan. Sorry. Super Saiyan 3 is by far the coolest form. I think that's looking bleak. I don't agree. I think it's cool. I'm glad it's there. But the coolest? No. The Pilaf gang are some of the worst characters ever. I don't agree with that either. They're the reason the future got doomed in some respects, but in other respects, they're not, and even if that's the case, that doesn't make them bad characters. I love Broly's second coming. Okay, now that I agree with. That, I think, that's pretty good. I don't dislike Broly's second coming at all. I appreciate the movie. So, 2 bleaks and 1 agreed. No perfect, and I haven't seen a dog shit opinion yet. Dragon Ball better than Dragon Ball Z is as hot as I can come up with, says Scotty Cunningham 1413. I'm gonna say that's all right. I think both are just as good as the other. But that's all right. Well, a lot of people have that opinion. I don't know if the majority do, though. Anyway, okay. Kenton Dorado. I love the icon with the Goku icon. I'd rather watch Dragon Ball Daima or DBS anime than to watch Dragon Ball Z anime because of the pacing and filler. That's the biggest piece of dog shit I've ever heard. Toriyama is too underestimated by his own fans, and the Toriyama forgot meme just doesn't reflect reality most of the time. I agree with that. I do agree. I think that, people either think Toriyama is a genius or they think he's an idiot. He's neither. He's a really talented artist he's a fairly good writer who writes in the seat of his pants, though. And he has good editors, and they all coalesce at the correct time to make a superb manga. People will say, oh, Toriyama's a shit writer. But it's dude, he did this every week while drawing it all. Of course it's not going to all fit together correctly. But it was good enough to have a lot of great moments. It's the same thing as people sitting there and be like, how come they just don't do this when you're sitting here thinking about the story for 15 years? Dude, if you put yourself in Toriyama's shoes, what he did was amazing. But yeah, he's not an idiot either. He just also doesn't remember a lot of stuff and is very he just goes with his whimsy. Okay, let's see. Gohan used the normal Super Saiyan in his fight against Dabura and Buu. In that time, the name Super Saiyan 2 didn't exist. The state was surpassing Super Saiyan limitations, and Gohan just couldn't get there at will. In the tournament, he only could because 5 minutes ago he saw a Videl vs. Spopovich fight. That's looking bleak, my man. That's looking bleak. At that time, Super Saiyan 2 did exist. It just wasn't named in the manga. But even though he just saw Videl fight Spopovich, he wasn't gonna, it wasn't like he couldn't help but do it. He just did it at the request of Kibito. He could do it. So there's no reason, in my opinion, he totally was Super Saiyan 2 against Dabura. Okay. Goku and Piccolo weren't showing their 100% when Raditz read their power levels. They were and they weren't. They were totally showing their 100% for their battle powers. They weren't hiding their power. But at the same time, yeah, their power also increases with techniques used. So that's an alright opinion. Goku is the best written, more complex, and more underestimated character in the whole Dragon Ball franchise. Well, actually, most in the Dragon Ball manga and a bit in the DBS manga. In other products, they break the character too much. I'm gonna say that's alright. I don't know if I agree, but I do think he's better written and more complex than people give him credit for. Okay, thank you, Kenton Dorado. Those were good hot takes, even if I disagreed with some of them. Alright, Speedy Thunderman 6188. Goku should have ended up with Bulma, and Vegeta should have ended up with Android 18. Ooh, man. I'm going to say those are two hot takes. Let's separate those. Goku should have ended up with Bulma. That's pretty good. I like that. I like that. Vegeta should have ended up with Android 18. That's looking bleak. I think Vegeta's character works best without a wife. But if he did get a wife, I think it would be more thematic if he got with Chi-Chi. Because she is a princess. He is a prince. She is overbearing. She would be the one to put him in line. In fact, I think that if Chi-Chi got with Vegeta, then I don't think it would have taken him 12 years to fully accept that he was a part of Earth. I think it would have taken him half the time, if less. She, like Bulma understood he was toxic, and while she didn't push him away as much as she should have, she still like just lived her own life, had her baby, and it was only after years and years of him hanging around that she decided maybe Trunks needs a father. Whereas with Chi-Chi, she would have been like, I'm not taking this, and Vegeta either would have killed her or she would have tamed him. One or the other. Android 18, she would have just dumped him. like she wouldn't have been like Chi-Chi or Bulma. She would have just been like, dude, I'm too chill for you. Leave me alone. But the Goku ending up with Bulma, I agree. Nathaniel W5N, I recognize you, boy. I recognize most of you again. The Dragon Balls are a terrible plot device after OG Dragon Ball and continue to get worse. Goku has died too many times as the protagonist of his own show. Piccolo killed him, Battle with Raditz, Heart Virus, Cell, Hit, the anime, Zamasu. Wait, Piccolo did not kill Goku. I mean, other than the Battle of Raditz, but you said Piccolo Daimo, so King Piccolo. King Piccolo did not kill Goku. King Piccolo, checked Goku's heartbeat and didn't hear it beating, but that doesn't mean he killed Goku. Goku just was revived. There was no Dragon Balls that were needed for that. Unless you mean in Super, when they gave that weird reason of, help my son live to adulthood. But that, even if you took that to mean that still means that Goku didn't die, though. But Battle with Raditz, yes. Heart Virus, well, he dies in the future timeline, not in the regular timeline. Cell, he does. Okay, the Hit death was insane, dude. And he he shoots a Ki Blast in the air and then has it be a defibrillator after Hit kills him. What fucking big brain move is that? Zamasu after the body switch, that is also an alternate timeline. Look, alternate timelines you shouldn't count, in my opinion. The Hit thing was stupid. It was funny, though. King Piccolo didn't kill him, technically. So really, it is Battle with Raditz and Heart Virus. Or to Battle with Raditz and Cell. Yeah, having 3 lives might be a lot for a lot of series. But I guess your point is that the Dragon Balls are a terrible plot device after OG Dragon Ball and continue to get worse. I'm going to say that's alright, because, I don't think they're a terrible plot device, but they do cause problems, certainly. But, people saying, like I've said before, people saying that the Dragon Balls don't have stakes, that's not true. They certainly have stakes, because they have rules, and they can also be inert. So, a big part of the plot is the Dragon Balls becoming inert in various sagas. And what do? The Dragon Balls can't work anymore. Yeah. So I'll say that's alright. It's understandable that you're saying that, though. Okay, Want Kilu. The dragon could have blown up Nappa and Vegeta's space pods, even though he was unable to harm them directly. Even if they survived, it would have brought the heroes a lot more time to prepare. Also, the filler made it so King Kai always knew instant transmission, so it means he made Goku's friends die unnecessarily by having him run Snake Way in reverse. You talk a lot of shit, but you down. At least for the first one. Yeah, they could have wished that. Potentially. We don't know how strong the space pods are. I don't know if, Kami could have blown those up. that might be more difficult, but it is likely that they could have made that wish, and no, they would not have survived. If they're in space, Saiyans can't breathe in space, so they would not have survived that if they could blow up. And, well, look, the filler is filler, it doesn't count. I like to think that King Kai knows instant transmission, regardless of filler. But here's the thing. Neither King Kai or Goku were thinking of Goku getting back in time, other than just the time limit of being on there. So it's not like King Kai was thinking like to hide the instant transmission. He just didn't think of it, and because if King Kai knows instant transmission, then he knows thousands of techniques. Likely. So, like, I don't blame him for not remembering one of them that he knows until Goku has learned it. But yeah, I guess if you count the filler, then yeah, that does happen. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say this clip.
I mean, it's alright, like...
Okay, Carson Factor. Oh, hey, 7640, I recognize you. Super Saiyan 3 was never supposed to be Goku's strongest form, and too many people act like Goku was dumb for not using it sooner, when, in my opinion, it wouldn't have made a difference. It was made for Gotenks. It perfectly encapsulates the kids not understanding the downsides of the form, as they are not so young but still being able to reap benefits of it that no one else could. They never learned the lesson in Cell Saga from Vegeta and Future Trunks finding the second or third grades of Super Saiyan and realizing they suck versus Master Super Saiyan. On top of that, the main downside of Super Saiyan 3 being a stamina drainer is much less of a problem because the fusion technique having a set time limit already. This also comes into play with their smaller frame, meaning the increase in size and weight isn't as bad for him as he's already small and hard to hit. It's a form that absolutely suits their get in and do damage fast mentality, with their techniques being quick, flashy, and holding enemies down so they can unload their strongest attacks, i.e. the Galactic Donut or Volleyball move into the Ghost Kamikaze attack. Gotenks rock Super Saiyan 3, and I wish more people could see that instead of complaining about how it's just a bad, unthought out ass pull from Goku. They at least gave it a strong form for a character people don't seem to consider at all. Love you, Pooh. Hope you're doing well. Oh, thanks, Carson. Well, I don't know about you saying it was never supposed to be Goku's strongest form, because, I mean, it was. But saying it was made for Gotenks, yeah, I can see that. That's a pretty good take. Now, Goku was dumb for not using it sooner. It wouldn't have made a difference. It depends on what you mean. Like, if Goku used against Majin Vegeta, maybe, I don't know. If Goku used against Buu and continued to do it, it would have probably just destroyed Buu. So it could have made a difference, but at the same time, it's hard to say. But thanks though, Carson. Not a bad hot take. Yeah, I'm gonna say most of that's all right. Some of it's pretty good. Okay, I'll do a few more and then I'll stop. Okay. Bluey358, I have 2. 1, people need to stop overrating DBZ. People act like everything about DBZ is better than everything about every other series. It gets to a point where it's just hating on everything else. Don't get me wrong, Dragon Ball Z is definitely the best series, but people instantly put it over the others when they see them compared no matter what it's about. I agree, kind of. But also, if you think it's the best series, then comparing it to everything else, it would be better. But, like, yeah, I mean, some people do put it on a pedestal, sure. I agree with... I'd say it's an alright take. I agree that people put it on a pedestal. But, like, I also think it's peak. So, it depends. 2, Goku is a better father than Piccolo. Well, yeah, because Piccolo's not a dad. Goku does the same things for Gohan that Piccolo does, and even more, to be honest. I think Piccolo confuses mentorship with fatherhood. Someone being a good teacher doesn't mean they're automatically a good father figure as well, even though in this case Piccolo is a good father figure, just not a better one than Goku. Yeah, I agree. I think that... I mean, Piccolo's a good uncle. He's not a good dad. He's Gohan's surrogate uncle. People saying he's Gohan's dad are just... stupid. But yeah, he's definitely Gohan's uncle, and he's not a bad father figure. But yeah, he's certainly not... I mean, Goku's a much better father figure than people give him credit for. Agreed. So that's pretty good. Okay. Joseph Shimaluski. One time put a DVD in the microwave. Does that count? All right, I'm gonna say it's the biggest piece of dog shit I ever heard. Okay. Kay Lauren. Ribrienne is actually a pretty cool character. Sure, she has downsides, but every character has flaws. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's all right. I don't like how Super handles their legacy characters, but I don't mind a lot of the Super characters that they introduce. Ribrienne is not a bad character. I think Hit's a great character. The Black Lobo. Frieza's final form is drawn the same way as a scary goth girl, and that's why he should spit in my mouth. What is wrong with you, man? That's the biggest load of dog shit I ever heard, but thanks for adding it. Why do you think how does it look like a goth girl? What are you talking about? Alright. FK Dart. Boo is the best villain in the Z era. He fits Toriyama's proclivities better, and I think it shows. You can tell Toriyama had more fun writing and drawing Boo than other villains, plus his pure ID motivations make him rife for horrific and funny moments. I agree with everything you said, although I don't think that means that Boo is the best villain in the Z era. Now, look, Boo is definitely a very Toriyama going back to basics villain. Toriyama had a lot of fun drawing and writing with Boo, especially in the Gotenks fight, and yeah, he is rife with horrific and funny moments. So Boo is a really good villain. I don't think that makes him the best villain, though. Just because he's more close to Toriyama's Toriyama-ness doesn't mean that makes him peak, necessarily. But I see your point, at least. So I'm gonna say that's all right. I'll do another one. Okay, GT needs a remake. Might not. Okay, Gurge124 says GT needs a remake. Might not be a hot take, and some people might point me in the direction of Daima, but it needs a revamp, not too big, but a revamp to the story and fights. Example, have Goten and Gohan take on bigger roles against Super 17 and the Shadow Dragons. Adult Gotenks, please, with a fire emoji. Have Goku become an adult after the Baby Saga. More episodes before the Shadow Dragon arc. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. Yeah, I agree. I'm almost done with my rewatch of GT with my buds, my pals, but yeah, there could be some improvements. Okay, Bilbo Bagman, Dragon Ball over literally everything else to come after crumbles in comparison. Ooh man, perfect, down to the last minute detail, perfect. Okay. Knight GW3OE. Vegeta should have stayed dead after he sacrificed against Boo. He could have had endless battles with Goku in the afterlife, but he threw it away because of his selfishness, ultimately making it up in a selfless act to atone for his actions. I'd also say his sacrifice should actually impact Boo, but not kill him. That's a spicy hot take. You know, I do think Vegeta's death against Frieza is better, but at the same time, it was a good death against Majin Buu. If he stayed dead, that might have actually not been a bad... I don't know. I have to think about that. That's all right. Yeah, maybe it should have impacted Boo a little bit more, but I also get how they wanted to make Boo some uber villain. Okay, I'll do two more. Okay, Chewy Bucka says... also, I like your icon. People often think Toriyama is a good writer when he isn't. That shouldn't be a hot take. However, it leads to people bandwagoning onto Super for, quote, bad writing, when those same issues were present since Z and DB. I'd recommend Plague of Gripes video on surviving Super Goku. I haven't seen Plague of Gripes video, although I don't like some of what he says because I feel like some of his stuff is like a gotcha, or like clickbait. Like I hate the things like Japan hates TN, or people just being like, oh man, Toei just hates Dragon Ball. Like I hate that shit. But I mean, look, Toriyama. I disagree. I think Toriyama is okay. It's hard. Look, is Toriyama a good writer? In some terms, no. Is he a good writer? In other terms, yes. Do I think that Toriyama could write a Lord of the Rings or a Wheel of Time or like some of the classic stuff that's like is art is a lot of people say is really well written? No. But can Toriyama make a serviceable plot that is fun and on the fly? Yeah. So it really depends on what you think. And plus, again, Toriyama had a bunch of time constraints. So it really depends. But like, I mean, I said he was a good writer earlier, and I think he is. But at the same time, like, I guess it also depends on what you call a good writer. Because like I said, like, I think I'm a better writer than Toriyama. Certainly when it comes to writing, and plotting and like structuring a story. But at the same time, he makes really good stuff. And he's probably a much better mangaka writer than I am. So, yeah, it's hard to say. Now, were those issues present since Z and DB the same in Super? They were, look, some of those issues were present, but they are far more exacerbated in Super to the point where OG fans find it off-putting. So I'll say it's looking bleak for that hot take. But I get what you mean. Okay, last question. Or not question, hot take. Cosmic Shambler says, Bulma's insufferable and a hoe. Yamcha deserved a better girl, and if he did cheat, it's because he noticed she was always looking to trade up. Damn. Damn, man. Ooh, spicy. Bulma is my favorite girl character. I don't think she's insufferable, but she is a hoe. She's completely a hoe. And Yamcha does deserve a great girl, and if he did cheat, it's because he noticed she was always looking to trade up anyway. Completely, man. The people who, like, one, I don't think Yamcha cheated, but even if he did, look at what Bulma's been like their entire off-and-on relationship. Like, that would be him cheating once and her likely getting with, like, 8 other guys 8 different times. How can you use that to besmirch Yamcha? That makes no sense. So certainly a hot take though, insufferable and a hoe. She's definitely promiscuous. She would be more insufferable if she wasn't a character. But like, because she certainly has a lot of flaws, but I like the flaws. That's the thing. Like that's what I enjoy about her as a character. Like I enjoy the flaws. You don't need to be a character that is flawless to be enjoyable. Like Tien. I love Tien, but like there are certain things like I'm gonna make a video eventually about the android meetup, like before the androids show up, like the meetup after Trunks leaves and people discussing things. Like Tien, Vegeta, and Goku all said that they want to fight the androids, and Tien saying that I like, but it's a flaw. It's a flaw because they might have been able to stop the androids beforehand. Cool that he has the pride of a martial artist to do that, to be like, no, dude, I want to prove myself. So, like, yeah, I like that, but that is also a flaw. I think Bulma's flaws are funny. And I like Bulma, and I think that Bulma and Yamcha are great together. But at the same time, would Yamcha deserve a girl that wouldn't, 1, cheat on him, 2, leave him for bad reasons, and 3, not want to give it? Yeah, sure, and of course. Yeah, he deserves someone to not leave him for fucking plot. Okay. But, alright, let's see how many I got left. Okay. So I got 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. I got 33 hot takes left. So the next video, I will have 33 hot takes to do. I don't know how many this was, though. Alright, guys, I don't have a baby raccoon at the end of this one, but I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. And next time, we will get to even more hot takes. And my best friend forever, Clearin, will be in that next one too. Not as his voice, but he'll have a hot take. Okay. All right, guys. Have a great one. See you.